Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the secrets of big businesses. And today we're diving into Cencora Incorporated's latest report. Get ready, because this filing is packed with some serious money moves that could shake things up. Before we get started, if you enjoy getting straight answers from these complex corporate documents, make sure you are subscribed. And hey, if you want to chat more about these findings with other finance enthusiasts, join our Discord community linked in the description below. So Cencora just dropped a current report, essentially an 8K filing, and it is all about some significant financial agreements they've entered into. Think of it as a big announcement of new deals and how they plan to pay for them. This report is dated the 12th of January 2026, and it signals some major strategic plays by the company, especially concerning their planned acquisition of an oncology. First off, Cencora is making some adjustments to its existing credit lines. They've amended their revolving credit facility, which is basically a flexible loan they can tap into. This is where they've sweetened the deal. By adding $1 billion to their existing credit line, Cencora has boosted the total amount they can borrow under this facility to a whopping $5.5 billion. This gives them more breathing room and financial firepower for their upcoming ventures. Now, why would they need so much cash on hand? Well, that leads us to the main event. Cencora has also secured a new multi-year term loan facility, which isn't as flexible as a revolving credit line, but provides a large lump sum of cash. This facility is set at $1.5 billion, and it is split into two parts. One part, tranche 1 loans, will be available for 2 years after it is drawn, and the other, tranche 2 loans, for 3 years after drawing. This structure is pretty standard for these types of loans, allowing them to manage their borrowing over different time horizons. And here is the crucial part, the reason for all this new borrowing power. The company is using the proceeds from these new term loans to help fund their announced acquisition of a majority stake in OneOncology. They're also using some of the money to pay off existing debts that OneOncology has and to cover the costs associated with making the deal happen. It is a classic move, borrow money to buy a company, then use some of that borrowed cash to clean up the acquired company's own debts. Let's talk about the cost of all this new debt. The interest rates on these term loans are tied to something called SOFR rates, which are pretty common benchmarks these days, plus an additional percentage or margin based on Cencora's credit ratings. This means the better Cencora's financial health is perceived to be by rating agencies like S&P or Moody's, the lower their interest payments will be. The margins can range from 0.25% up to 1.25% on top of the SOFR rate. They've also agreed to pay a ticking fee on any unused portion of the loan commitments, starting in April 2026. This is essentially a fee for having the money available but not yet drawn. Now, with great borrowing power comes great responsibility, and that is where covenants come in. These are rules Cencora has to follow to keep the lenders happy. A big one here is maintaining a financial leverage ratio. This ratio essentially measures how much debt a company has compared to its earnings. They have to keep this ratio at or below 4-1, meaning their debt shouldn't be more than 4 times their earnings. They can even push that limit to 4.5-1 if they make a substantial acquisition. This is a pretty standard covenant designed to ensure the company doesn't take on too much debt that it can't handle. But wait, there is more. To further fund the OneOncology acquisition, Cencora has also entered into a 364-day term credit facility. This is a shorter term loan, as the name suggests, maturing just under a year from when it is drawn. This facility is for a massive $3 billion. It seems Cencora is using a combination of longer-term and very short-term debt to get this acquisition done. This short-term facility will also be used for the acquisition costs, paying off OneOncology's debt and related expenses, just like the multi-year loan. Similar to the multi-year facility, the interest rate here is also tied to SOFR rates plus a margin, though the specific margins are slightly different, ranging from about 0.875% to 1.125% over SOFR. And yes, there is another ticking fee on the unused commitment for this loan too, starting the 1st of April 2026. With rates between 0.06% and 0.10%. Now, this is interesting. Cencora previously had a bridge financing commitment of $4.5 billion to fund this acquisition, but because they've now secured the $1.5 billion term loan and the $3 billion 364-day term loan, which together amount to $4.5 billion, those original bridge financing commitments have been reduced to zero. They've successfully replaced the temporary bridge loans with more structured, longer-term financing. This is a good sign, as bridge loans often come with higher costs and are meant to be short-term solutions. The report also touches on the relationships between Cencora and the banks providing these loans. It is pretty common for large companies to have multiple dealings with major financial institutions. Several of the lenders involved here are also providing investment banking services, advising on deals, and have participated in past debt offerings. For instance, Citigroup Global Markets Incorporated and JP Morgan Securities LLC are acting as lead financial advisors for Cencora on this acquisition. It highlights the interconnectedness of these financial giants and how a single deal can involve many services from the same banking groups. This section basically just confirms that these new loan agreements are indeed direct financial obligations for Cencora. It is a formality that points back to the details we've already covered in item 1.01. And finally, the report lists the exhibits, which are the actual legal documents detailing these agreements. Exhibit 10.1 is the amendment to the revolving credit facility, 10.2 is the multi-year term credit agreement, and 10.3 is the 364-day term credit agreement. These are the primary sources for all the specifics if you wanted to dive even deeper. So, what is the story here? Cencora is aggressively pursuing the OneOncology acquisition, signaling a strong belief in the growth potential of that business. They've lined up substantial financing through a combination of increased revolving credit, new multi-year term loans, and a significant short-term loan facility. The replacement of bridge financing with these more established credit lines is a positive step. Looking at Cencora's strategic direction, this move suggests they are aiming for significant expansion in the oncology space. The sheer amount of capital being deployed, over $7 billion in new debt facilities alone for this acquisition, indicates high confidence and a willingness to take on considerable financial leverage. The key risks revolve around the successful integration of oncology, achieving the projected synergies and growth, and managing the increased debt burden. The leverage ratio covenant is a crucial metric to watch. If Cencora's performance falters, or if the economics of the OneOncology business don't pan out as expected, they could find themselves bumping up against that debt limit. However, the fact that they've secured these facilities with what appear to be standard terms suggests that lenders are confident in Cencora's ability to manage this debt. The involvement of major financial institutions as advisors and lenders also lends credibility to the transaction. In conclusion, Cencora is making a bold bet on the future of oncology care through the acquisition of OneOncology. They've put the financing in place to make it happen, demonstrating their commitment. The success of this acquisition will hinge on execution and the ability to integrate and grow OneOncology effectively. The increased debt levels are a significant consideration, but the company seems to be managing its obligations with clear covenants in place. Alright, that is our breakdown of Cencora's latest filing. What is your take on these massive new credit facilities and the OneOncology acquisition? Do you think this is a smart move for Cencora, or is the debt load too much? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into corporate finance, and most importantly, check out the Discord link in the description to join the conversation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Corporate Decoder.